Welcome to the Dink and Dish podcast. My name is Barbara Brodowski. I'm here with fitness legend and icon Tammy Lee Webb. And we're here to talk about one thing and one thing only, and that's dinking is not a warm-up. I mean, we're past that now, but I still try to throw that in whenever we can. And we're also here with Tammy Lee Webb's cat. I can hear her. I can. I love it.
She's paying attention.
Everyone has an office mate, I think. When we start working from home, we all have these our office mates now, a dog or cat or whatever. So, well, welcome to the podcast, everyone. Good to see you again, Tammy. We had a little hiatus.
Yes, we did. It's nice to see you too.
Yeah, it's been fun. I took we had a nice, sweet family reunion in South Dakota, where my family's from.
Looked like fun.
God, it's just so different. Like when you're from California and you go to the Midwest,
yes,
and you hang out in a small town. You know, there's just so much. It's so good to see other parts of the country. It's just my favorite part of America is just everything is so different and so diverse and just so cool. Like it's just so
good
cool
to see.
there.
It's good to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah,
and see what's on the other side of the pond. Yeah. So it looked like fun.
We say, I could never live in Watertown, South Dakota. And then my uncle and my cousin, like we could never live in, Fort Worth or anywhere in California. Like it's so funny but it's so nice to go there and just visit and hang out and eat what they eat and do what they do and fish and swim. And
did you play pickleball?
We did. As a matter of fact, yes, my dad, of course, it was with my dad, who starts jonesing for pickleball. Like, everyone got sick on this trip. I was the last one to fall, but my dad actually got sick on the trip. But by the fourth day, he's like, we need to go check out the community center. They got a great. So we went there to the community center, and my sister, my dad, and I played with a really nice lady who was a really good player. We got like maybe an hour and a half of pickleball in, which is funny. Good. My dad can't chill. We were talking about how hard it is to chill. My dad can't chill. He can't chill. Yeah.
Is that where you got it from then?
Probably. It's very much genetic. Yeah. What's new with you?
Oh, what is new? Well, we went on a couple little, short trips up to Santa Barbara, which is very similar to here in San Diego. I'm just a lot of our picklers that I usually play with are kind of on vacation or just out and about. So I've had a little bit of a break. My knees appreciate that. But I've done a lot of homework with doing my exercises for strengthening my tibia, my quads, because you and I both know strong muscles will get us so much further. We can hit a ball stronger, faster. Yeah. We can move quicker. So it's just really working on, the meniscus tears. And there is a lot that you can do instead of just jumping into, I got to do surgery.
Yeah.
And usually there's not a whole lot that they can do for a tear until you get an ACL.
You have to do your homework like you're doing your homework, which is nice. And I think that's what's usually lacking 9 times out of 10 is people will just trust what a doctor would say. And he could be right 9 times out of 10, but being an advocate for yourself is really important too. I'm back in California because in 2024, we are rebuilding my husband. So he had his shoulder, his shoulder reconstructed. And, it's from years of overuse. And he was a bodybuilder back in the day, avid golfer. But what took him out was he jumped up into an attic, pushed himself up, and he kind of frayed the rotator cuff and some ligaments. And that was years ago, and he could tolerate it. But then after he had his hip surgery, he was pushing a stove. Like, why do men feel like they need to do things by themselves? He was moving things around the shop here. And he actually tore his bicep. So he pushed it. And I always think about that with pickleball because one of the girls I play with now is out she had rotator cuff surgery and it's from playing pickleball. And these are things that are preventable. My husband's bicep
which
tear
is
was
what
actually,
we're trying to talk about.
I'm trying to
right
get
here.
Progressive overload. Women need to strength train because when you're smacking the heck, and I smack the ball, I try to do a soft game, but when push comes to shove, I know what I can do. Yeah. And my fear is never that I'm going to dislocate my shoulder or tear a rotator cuff or have a shoulder injury because I know for sure when I push 25-pound weights over my shoulders, that's what's going to give me not only the strength to hit the ball hard, but give me the ability to not knock on wood. I mean, I hate to be all
right. We have one of our girls, Mindy, she tore her bicep and it's her serving arm. And it looked kind of strange because, it kind of drops and you can see it. But in actual fact, I mean, she's still, can smack the ball. She has control over it. It didn't really put a damper on the way that she plays pickleball. She's a really good player.
Now, do you think that will heal I've known people that have those things heal by themselves. They can't heal.
Well, she thought she was going to have surgery and she was all prepared for it. And the doctor's like, no, if it doesn't hurt and you can actually continue as it is. It just looks a little strange and you wouldn't notice it until if you're really looking, like you and I would be able to tell it. But I think the average person probably would not. Yeah. But no, she keeps on ticking. I always call her the energizing buddy. She just keeps going like a battery.
Well, I figure like with my husband's shoulder, he had already had the rotator cuff tear and had the ligaments frayed, and he knew he needed to get it fixed, but they would stop him from playing golf. So 10 years later. So finally, when you have so little holding things together, the bicep was probably the last resort for keeping that shoulder intact. And the bicep's like, I'm out, like I'm done with you. Like, get it back together.
Well, buddy, because it needs so much of this, and our deltoid having the front, the medial, and the posterior, it's a big muscle that helps support our biceps, our tricep, and even our lats. I mean, they're all connected. So and as we get older, we just, our synovial fluid kind of dries up, and things we overuse them. And there's some people say, well, I just won't be that rough on my body, so I don't need to replace those parts. I think I'd rather replace my parts and have fun out there on the court.
And I do think too that the longevity you get from a game that's mind-body connection, that's good for it's good for not only your cardiovascular system, but it's good for your brain. It's good for your personal connection.
Really good for the brain.
Yeah, my husband sent me this. It was like a meme. It was actually a story, not a meme. And it was like, why this gentleman, his son's trying to get into online banking, and he's a boomer. And
I'm a boomer.
You're different though. Like you're different. But he went to online banking, and he explains why. I like going to the bank because I like seeing people. I like the connection. I like talking to my favorite teller. I don't like to buy things from Amazon because I want to go to the store and I want to see Sally at the cashier.
I want to touch it and I want to feel it.
Yeah. Which is like, it translates so well into why pickleball is so good too, because it gets you out of the house. It gets you moving. It gets you connected with people. It gets your brain thinking certain things. It gets you in a competitive nature, which I think the competitive part of pickleball is also super helpful to just kind of like your spirit, It's like, I think it's just good for your overall well-being. So anyway, well, today we are going to talk about, and this is going to be a very interesting topic because people use energy drinks as a
pick-me-up.
A pick-me-up, and as kind of like I want to call it like a security blanket, like kind of like me and coffee in the morning, I suppose. But we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly about energy drinks and why they're probably not the best thing for you, especially not when you're playing pickleball.
No, because it's what they're full of. So let's back up a little bit and let's talk about why we're having energy drinks. Let's look at drinks altogether, and it's to be hydrated. You want to keep your body hydrated. And if you're playing pickleball and you're out on the courts, and right now it's summertime, so where I play in one court, it's when I get out there it's 85, but when I get on the court, it's going to be hotter. So we're always taking breaks after every game. We go out and we hydrate ourselves. And all of us are water drinkers, but I will see other players pull up an energy drink. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, what you're drinking is loaded with caffeine and usually sugar. And if you're doing it to get more energy, what you're also doing is dehydrating your body.
Yeah.
So you're kind of, the whole purpose of this, you're defeating it, because for instance, with every cup of coffee, you need 2 cups of water to not dehydrate yourself. So I was looking at how many milligrams were in some of these drinks. So a 16 ounces has anywhere between 80 to 300 milligrams. And I'm sure that's based on, I've seen these energy drinks like big gulps, right?
The monsters,
yeah, the monsters, and then the little ones. And that equals to like 6 cups of coffee. And if it's got sugar on it, so sugar in it, right. So I'm a coffee drinker. I love having a cup of coffee in the morning. I may have 2, but most of the time I'm a 1 cup, coffee drinker, and it's black. But I can only imagine if you're having more and more caffeine, you're going to get dehydrated. And when you're dehydrated, what's going to happen? You can get joint issues. You can get dizzy. You can get headaches. You can get, fatigue, constipation, digestive issues. There's so many different things, but there are so many other alternatives than the energy drink. So
what are some good examples you'd recommend?
So, well, let's just start with water. How many types of water are there? Can you imagine how much water? Yeah.
What is it? My husband buys this. I don't know.
pH balance. So we have spring water, we have purified water, we've got mineral water, alkaline water. And so spring water is like underground. And that's kind of how most of the water bottles, when water started being packaged and sold, is in the little bottles, and it was spring water, right? And first of all, I personally think water other than tap water, especially around here, I do not drink tap water. I don't even allow my animals to drink tap water. So water is good, but you also need to know where your water's coming from and what's in it. But water in itself, so the mineral and alkalines kind of help with it on a more cellular level, where the purified is, what did I have down there? Because I wrote all these down just to refresh my memory. It's more processed, but it's great for your health. So I used to drink, when I started drinking, getting my bottled water, alkaline. And then I realized I don't always need alkaline. I need filters. So you need to have a little bit of both. If you don't like water, a lot of people don't prefer, they're like, water's boring. Well, then squeeze some, lemon, or put some fresh mint in it. Give it some flavor, and you don't need the sugar, and you certainly don't need the caffeine. But the other thing that I will see people do, which we see this in sports like football, basketball, you'll see the big Gatorade signs, and because they're trying to build up their electrolytes, right? So we're trying to fuel the body back and get it, pH balance, bringing it back in. And so there's many different ones of those. And nowadays, a friend just gave me this one too. It's, they're little packets, and it has electrolytes in it. You can do that, put it in your water. I see quite a few of these, which I'm happy to see. So if you need the electrolytes, this is a really good way to add that. You just take the powder, put it in your water, which gives it a little bit of flavoring as well.
I love those, the liquid IV. And now they have sugar-free ones, because I know for sure when you wake up in the morning, you're pretty much dehydrated. Like when you first wake up in the morning, you're dehydrated. And I've done enough research to know that first thing in the morning, water with like sea salt,
lemon,
and sea salt, add a little. People are so afraid of salt.
I know, and you should not be.
You should not be. But and I have high blood pressure, so I need to be conscious of a certain amount of salt. But in the morning when you're dehydrated, if you want to get immediate energy, water with salt actually gets your body up and running, and it kind of balances you out again because you're so dehydrated.
It's what kind of salt?
Right.
So like you said, sea salt.
Iodized, yeah.
Right. So you don't want table salt. That's not what you're looking for. You want to have
like Celtic
salt. Yeah, Celtic salt. I think there's a Baja salt,
Himalayan sea salt.
Himalayan. So I do the same thing. While I'm making my coffee, I put my salt on my tongue. I hold it there until I'm get my dog's food and my cat's food, and then I drink my water with lemon. And then I also put in chai seeds.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it kind of, and it's because of the vitamins that I'm taking with it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of my routine before I ever touch my coffee is I'm getting myself hydrated. Because
Yep.
think about it, you've been sleeping. If you've been sleeping for 7 or 8 hours, you're going to be dehydrated.
Yep.
And again, people will get up and they'll have their coffee or they'll
I
have an
know.
energy drink. I had roommates in college, and they would get up, and I didn't drink coffee in college. I don't know why, but I just wasn't into it. And they would get up and they would have, do you remember Tab?
Yes.
Tab?
Yes. That was the biggest, fakest. That was the, talk about fake news. Tab
That
was the
was fake
grossest
Coke.
tasting.
Yeah.
It was just never tasted good. We all acted and believed like it tasted. It was the first diet soda was Tab. And it was disgusting. And we all act like it was good. I remember like, oh, Tab. Like,
I didn't. I never drank it. I've never been a big soda pop other than when I was
pop.
little.
Did you say pop?
Soda pop.
Soda pop. Yes, ma'am.
Well, soda pop is everything, right?
Yeah.
But that's the least. That's the one thing that you shouldn't go for is you don't want caffeine. You don't want sugar. You want to hydrate yourself in the morning. I suggest that you have a really big, tall glass. Sometimes in the winter, I'll make it a hot water with lemon. It's summer, so I do cold, and I squeeze my lemon. I have my salt, the sea salt or calcite salt, and I drink that before I ever have the cup of coffee. And then if I do have a cup of coffee and I want a second one, I make sure that I have at least 8 to 16 ounces of water before I have my second, because it's dehydrating you. And keep that in mind. So whenever you're having an energy drink, you are dehydrating your body. And if you are out in the sun and you're being active, your body is sweating that out. So it needs to be hydrated. So those electrolytes help you with balancing the blood for your nerves, for your muscles, to keep them, moving so you don't get not moving, but so you don't get cramps. And a lot of people
I used this analogy last time too. Think about beef jerky or filet mignon. Like beef jerky is just dehydrated filet mignon. So when you think about your muscle, think about a slab of jerky or a filet mignon, and one is hydrated, one is not. And I always think about that. Like that time I hurt my back.
And you can tell on your skin. Like you can look at your skin, and if you're really dry, you're not hydrated. And I realized, like yesterday, I don't know why, I always think that I drink enough water, and I woke up with a headache, and I'm like, why do I have a headache? And I was so dry. I'm like, I did not drink enough water yesterday.
Yeah. Especially when you're playing pickleball, and it's not humid here like in Texas. And first of all, in Texas, I'm playing.
It's humid here.
I'm playing indoor. Yes, humid you are.
Maybe not like,
Like it's very similar. It's very similar. I mean, it's not like Houston. That's a different type of humidity. But when I play in town here, I'm not acclimated at all to the dry heat anymore. Like I was playing outside, and I'm like, oh Lord, have mercy. Like it was, and like my lip, everything was sweaty on me. So I understand why you need to also adjust where you're playing. You're playing outside, you're playing inside, because outside is going to suck. I mean, it will just evaporation's refrigeration. So you're sweating and it's cooling you off. So you're going to sweat more to cool you off. Like, geez, like paying attention to that is a full-time job outside right now.
Who was it? We were talking about this muscle cramps, and they said it was pickle juice. If you drink pickle juice, you won't get muscle cramps.
And then they sell that now in cans.
Well, and think about this. It's salty.
Yeah.
Because when you sweat, when I come home from pickleball, my dog is on me. He's like, "Ooh, look, he's licking my ankles because there's salt. It's sweaty, salty. So you're losing that, and that's one of the other reasons why you need that salt. And pickle juice makes sense. Not that I really want to drink a ton of pickle juice on the courts, but I would drink it later in the day. Just not to have the muscle cramps. Yeah.
I'll eat the pickles.
But if you're hydrated, you shouldn't have the muscle cramps at all. Did you know that There is, I was looking this up, an official drink, I guess, for pickleball. It's called
No.
Dink. It's called Dink.
Duh.
Yeah,
Duh.
I was looking at it, and it's electrolytes and minerals. And
Someone
I
jumped
guess
on
pickleball
that.
decided
Good for them.
it's gonna be the official drink for our pickleball.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah. So
I mean, I would like it to be like Blue Moon or Corona, but okay. Okay. We'll go with Dink.
yeah, okay.
We'll go with Dink.
Yeah. So that's yeah, the bottom line is, and also you could drink other things like coconut water.
Mm-hmm.
What else did I have down? I had coconut water. Um, of course, here's the thing about Gatorade. I'm not a huge fan of Gatorade. I
Yeah, it's got
might
a lot of
drink
sugar in
Gatorade
it.
if I'm not sick. It's the sugar. So if you
Yeah.
do have to drink it, just dilute it,
Dilute it.
put
Yeah.
some water in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So it,
Well,
it
that's
would be a
helpful.
little bit
I
better.
just think
But
that it's really important that like I say, pickleball players are now going from the couch to the court. They're playing like athletes. They need to start taking care of their body like an athlete. If you're playing pickleball 5 times a week, 2 to 3 hours each time you play, you're playing like an athlete, and you need to respect and train your
yeah.
body like an athlete. Make sure your protein intake's up. Make sure, your fats and carbs are pretty much balanced, and make sure that most important of
Yeah.
water, what's the water first? Like,
Yes.
in
Water
in the
first.
scheme of things, water's always first. And
Yeah.
it's really hard. And it's hard for me too. Like, I like what you said about putting the salt on your tongue. It's hard to drink salt water. Put your salt on your tongue. And also I
Yeah.
would say, when you bring that water bottle up to your mouth, just get it over with. Get like 8 gulps in. Like, don't sip. Like, there's no time for sipping when you're
No.
playing pickleball 3 hours a day, 5 times a week. You need
Yeah.
to chug water like you're a frat
Yeah.
boy at a fraternity party and you're upside down on a keg.
Just pretend that it's okay, right?
Exactly.
But that's the whole reason that we're here, right, Barb? We are
Yeah.
here for actually to in helping people understand that so our one pickleball prehab, which I think sometimes people don't even know that it's associated with our Dink and Dish. It's
Right.
the fitness side, or what's another word for it? Other side of what we're doing with
Yeah.
Dink and Dish is giving you this information, but
Yeah.
then we want to show you, look, if you're loving the sport and you want to stay on there without getting injured,
Mhm.
then there are some simple things that you could do.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to share with you. And so if you don't consider yourself an athlete, but you love pickleball. Oh, I go out just with my friends. I'm not competing. I'm not in the league. It doesn't matter.
You're
Your
still an
body doesn't
athlete.
know that. Your body
Right.
does not know whether you're competing in a league or you're doing it just for fun with your family, your friends, or
Yeah.
your kids. You still need to honor your body.
Yeah.
And your body, if you take care of your body, I've said this in the past, take care of your body and your body will take care of you. So what does it need before I get out on the court? It
Yes.
needs a proper warm up. Are you hydrated? Do you have all the right equipment? And then when you get off, because you've been playing for an hour and a half and you're all sweaty and you're just like, oh my gosh, now I'm just going to go fall on the sofa. Well, that's not what you should be doing. You need to, again, honor your body and say, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, thank you. You got me through that. Now let me take the time to stretch you. So, one of the newest equipment I just got in my gym, and I don't know why it took me this long to do it, is the slant board.
Mhm.
And I got to tell you, I just love that slant board. It doesn't take but a minute if you get on it, and there's different levels. But not only is it stretching out my Achilles, my soleus, it's going up through my hamstrings and my glutes. It's helping me, with my feet. There's just so much benefits by just doing that. And then I usually get off of it and I do my little heel pops, little bounces.
The
And I
pops.
tried to do that today and playing, because the woman that I take lessons from, her name's Gigi. She's like, okay, is your feet in cement? You got to keep moving. So I'm like bouncing and bouncing and bouncing.
Yep.
And I started to do it. All of a sudden a ball comes to me and I realized I was focusing on my bouncing and missed the
Okay.
ball. So
I joke on the court that I have happy feet. Like I have a pair of Asics shoes and I wore out the bottom already. And it's because for every 35, for every one step my partner takes, I take 35. Like I just have happy feet on the court. Wow. But it's also because I actually, when I get there, I tell everyone, if you're going to, before I even hit the ball, before we start doing anything, has everyone at least done heel pops this morning? If you do nothing else, just get here and go pop, 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 pop to get your brain, get the mind body connection going. Yeah, just humor me, everybody, and everyone will do them with me. I'm like, okay, thank you. I feel better about the fact that you're not quite with me yet on the warming up, but and then people say, I warmed up at home.
Better than I am because I don't do that to my girls. They just look at me because most of the time I'm already warmed up before I get to the courts because I'm either working with clients, so I'm warmed up.
Yeah.
Sundays are the only days that I'm not, and I pull out my bands, I pull out my, whatever I have in my bag. I do my stretches, my lunges, and just warm up before I get on the course. And every once in a while, one or two will follow.
Yep. I have people that'll like, oh, it's such a good idea. I'm like, thank you. Hey, do you have trivia for us today?
I do. And I got this one from watching some competition up here in San Clemente. Mm-hmm. And it was very interesting. So here's the question. So true or false, when the ball is in play and it comes down and hits the bar, you know how sometimes there's a bar underneath the net? Mm-hmm. If it hits the bar and pops up and you play it, does that count? True or false? Is it still in play?
I say no.
So the ball comes over and let's say it just drops over the net. And some places, so in this match, there's a bar down there and it hits the bar. So it pops back up. Can you step in the kitchen and smack it?
Oh, gosh. Great question. I'm going to go with common sense and say yes, because that's where the bounce happened.
Incorrect.
Oh, dang it.
So if it hits the bar, because it's not hitting the court, it hit the bar, then it's a do-over.
Oh, okay.
It's a do-over. So they get to do it
very few do-overs in pickleball, so that's good to know.
Yeah, but not every net, depending on where I play, has that bar. So for instance, today where we played, it had that net. And then I was watching a video on it because I wanted to double check to say, did I hear that right?
All right.
And so I Googled it and got on there and was watching, and it was interesting because the ball came over the net and hit the bar, hit the court, bounced up, and then it hit the bar. Oh. And then he went to but that's a double. So he should have hit it when it hit the court, but he didn't right away, and it came down and hit the bar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but if it comes over the net and hits the bar, it's not hitting the court, it's a do-over.
Okay, do-over. Okay, that makes sense. Like I said, there's very few do-overs. I mean, with my group, sometimes there's do-overs, but I know it's not legal do-overs. It's like, let's just do that one over.
Let's do that again. Yeah.
Well, this has been fun. Okay, so on the show notes, we will link all of the past fitness equipment you've recommended. So we have a couple things on there, the balance boards. There's a couple of things that you've recommended in the past, and maybe let's put the slant board on there too. So put the link to that on there where they can find that.
Yeah. It's on my, I think it's on my Amazon page.
Okay.
It's on there.
We'll make sure that's linked. I believe that's the link that we use for the booty bands and stuff. So awesome. This has been fun, Tammy Lee. Another great.
Thank you, Barb. Thanks everybody for listening.
Yes. And, follow us on One Pickleball Prehab on Instagram, because we always put some fun content on there. Some of the fun. So on Fridays, I try to do like a fashion Friday, where we talk about pickleball fashion. And then the rest of the week, we try to put up there just content around pickleball and fitness. So join our community over there. It's a lot of fun.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.